I saw a music video. I don't remember what music video it was. All I know is a guy was like climbing out of a manhole. It's gonna sound so random, but he was climbing out of a manhole and he had like the G-Shock watch on and he was spitting bars. And I was like, I want to try that. And I started freestyling on my favorite opening shows I did was with Tech 9. I opened for Tech.
Who always puts on an incredible show.
Tech 9 goes nuts. He goes crazy. I was the only local artist they allowed on the show. And it's because I was an absolute nuisance, man. I called like 20 times. I was like, not Tech. You don't call Tech to get the show. Yeah, I called the promoter and I was like, hey, have you talked to him yet? And he's like, I haven't heard back yet, man. I'll call you tomorrow. I called tomorrow. I'm like, you heard from me yet? Tech himself cleared my music to let me know.
The things I would always push back on is that I would say, well, you never hear the story of the people who are using hip-hop to stay out of trouble or are using hip-hop to not be down and out. You're not hearing those stories, you know? You're only hearing these stories when hip-hop is a negative. But we're not hearing about the countless people who used it to become better, you know? And you love hearing people using it as a tool, you know, to better.
To go downtown in the back of my buddy's truck where he'd play his subs, and I'd jump in the bed of the truck and I'd rap to people on the street.
No way.
We had so many people in the street one time that the cops came and they were like, you need to go, you're blocking. Switched my song from this hype track to this song about my life and about the school and about the people around me, and made a really serious track and performed it in front of my entire school. And I won by a landslide, and it was like, that's what I wanted.
Tripping, do not wake me up, cause I come hard like lightning struck. My fans come and hype me up. They're all aware that I don't give up. Round one, that bell ringing. Round two, your crowd leaving. Round three, my mic bleeding. Better call a medic, cause you might need it. They're like, Cole St. Dog, we get it. You're a man on a mission. I'm sorry that I just get carried away when they calling me different. Listen, I'm sorry. Let me calm down. I get a bit intense when I'm called out. Been that way since I lived at my mom's house. What I'm trying to say is keep my name out y'all's mouth. I ain't got no time for y'all.
He was trying to get on some shows. I'm surprised that more people weren't reaching out. Because if I'm not mistaken, you just took Des Moines and Iowa overseas. Pretty crazy, right?
It is pretty crazy.
Which I bet was pretty surreal. And we'll get there. We'll get there for sure. But as soon as I saw that, I'm like, man, we got to talk to this guy.
Yeah, they actually just hit me up the other day. Indonesia, they asked me to do 3 tours out there this
Really?
year. I don't know if I'm going to do all 3. But yeah, one's in Bali. That's the one I want to do.
That's sick, man.
And then one's in Jakarta again, which is where I just was. Well, Jakarta and Bandung is where I went.
Really? Yeah, we're going to get into all that. We're going to get into all that. So, do better, BEDDER-MEDA, taking the eye out of media. It's the future. I'm here with Cole Saint, a budding rapper. I would say actor, apparently. We're going to get into that. Content creator. We'll get you right with your internet, too. If you're in the area, he'll get you together because you're going to have to stream to watch him take off. Am I not right? They're going to need the internet to see you.
You're going to need internet.
To see where you're about to go, you know? So we got Cole Saint in the building, man. I'm glad that you're here.
Hey, good to be here.
For sure, for sure. Oh, let me ask you this, just so people can get an idea. Somebody had never heard your music, and you had to kind of say, well, if you took these 2, 3, 4 artists, threw them in a pot, who would you put in that pot? Tough question for sure.
I would probably put, obviously Eminem. I get that all the time. Eminem, NF, and Hobson.
I could see that. So M makes sense, but I'm assuming M was pretty influential to you.
Yeah, when I was younger, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I still listen to him too. I'm not going to be the dude that pretends he doesn't like Eminem now.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I still listen to the stuff that I liked, you know, back then, some of the older stuff, but I still listen to M as well. And then NF and Hobson. So that's interesting. Where does the Hobson come in?
He was just one of my biggest influences growing up. Those are just the people I used to listen to growing up all the time. I know like all their music, but
Hobson's dope.
Hobson, I just get compared to him every now and then. I don't always hear it when I'm rapping and stuff, but
it makes sense if those are what you were listening to, though, right?
Yeah.
That they would kind of influence your sound.
Oh yeah, the Eminem. Well, Hobson and NF are actually my 2 dream features. I want that one day.
It's
Bring
gonna
it out
come.
to the world, right?
We're putting that out there. Look, I hope they see this one day as well. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys happen to see this, and maybe we'll get Eminem. You know, you never know. We're reaching for the stars a little bit. We're shooting for the moon. You know what I'm saying? For sure. I could see a Hobson feature though.
That'd be awesome, dude.
He's just he's like when it comes to the process,
Oh yeah, but he's been gone
incredible.
for a while, hasn't
Yes,
he? I haven't seen him. Nobody knows where he is.
that diss track that he dropped on Funk Volume years ago was
crazy. I remember sitting at the computer when they dropped that Ill Mind, and I was like, "What? He's leaving Funk Volume?"
You never say it was a huge deal.
My mom was like, "I don't get it," and I'm like, "I don't understand."
All right, so because I was almost curious of where kind of your sound came from. So let's kind of walk back. So are you an Iowan, like kind of through and through?
Oh yeah, all the way.
Got you. Your parents
born in
here?
the corn.
Fair enough. which we'll get to one of your more popular songs as well. So born in Iowa. What is like? How does I feel like some people would say they'll make the joke of like, how do they even find hip hop out there in Iowa? How does one find hip hop? But like, what was it that kind of led you to want to start rapping?
I mean, honestly, when I was like, I've always wanted to make music. So like, even when I was really
little, play instruments and stuff.
Well, yeah, I've always wanted to be the singer. I guess I wanted to be a drummer shortly when I was little, but I never actually did that. But I mean, at first it was like grunge rock that I wanted to do when I was like super little, single digits, and then it was country, and then at like 10, I saw a music video. I don't remember what music video it was. All I know is a guy was like climbing out of a manhole. It's gonna sound so random, but he was climbing out of a manhole and he had like the G-Shock watch on and he was spitting bars. And I was like, I want to try that. And I started freestyling in my room and I was terrible. And then
most of us were.
It was really cringy. And then, but around 12, my mom, she got sick. And she got cancer. She ended up beating it. But I remember she came to my room and told me about it. And then, like, around that same time, alcoholism kind of became a thing in my house with my stepdad and my mom, and then it got abusive. And then that's when I, like, started locking in. I'm like, I need somewhere to, like, channel this. And I started making music, making raps about that. And I performed at my high school talent show for my first ever show when I was, like, 14, 15. And I won by, like, a landslide. And I did the audition and made it into the finals by one vote. And then I switched my song from this hype track to this song about my life and about the school and about the people around me. I made a really serious track and performed it in front of my entire school. And I won by a landslide, and it was like, that's what I want to do. And turned out, I just kept going.
So is it safe to say there was also a little bit of an escape in that?
Oh, yeah.
In kind of the creative process and being able to kind of get some things off your chest?
Yeah, I definitely had a lot I had to get off my chest.
Well, it's I'm kind of glad you say that because we've had a lot of conversations here in studio about hip hop and maybe some of the negative effects that it can have. And one of the things I would always push back on is that I would say, well, you never hear the story of the people who are using hip hop to stay out of trouble or are using hip hop to not be down and out. You're not hearing those stories, You're only hearing these stories when hip hop is a negative. But we're not hearing about the countless people who used it to become better, And you love hearing people using it as a tool, to better themselves. And that's that's super dope. So, well, let me ask you this, because I'm assuming you weren't hearing hip hop in the household when you were really young, because you mentioned grunge and country and stuff like that. But it sounds like as soon as you heard music, it kind of spoke to you, no matter what kind of music it was.
Yeah, I mean, actually, the earliest song I can remember was... That's a cat.
She's going to come out with a sock. She's in there. She's hunting or something. No, earliest music, yeah.
The earliest song I can remember that like inspired me was Stone Sour Through the Glass. That was like, I remember, this is so cringe. I've never even talked about this. I forgot about this.
It's not live, now. So we're good.
We can drop release this part. But when I was like, I don't know, 7, 6, I don't know how old I was. I just remember I sat at the dinner table trying to write down the lyrics like I was the one writing the song. I was playing pretend. And that's like the earliest memory I have of wanting to do music. But it did start with like divorced dad rock, pretty much.
Gotcha. You gotcha. So did you start, like, were you like a beat on the table kind of rap at the school guy, or did nobody know you were into it? Kind of how did that come about?
So this is This is interesting. I wasn't like the beat on the table. I did rap in school a couple times. Like I rapped in front of one class in my history class, and my teacher wanted me to make a history rap, but he didn't clarify. So I just rapped about whatever I wanted.
And now look at epic rap battles in history, right?
Yeah.
Had you only listened to the teacher.
Rap battle history is awesome. But no, I did real cringy rap in there. But the way people started to get to know me when I was younger, I used to crash house parties. And I would show up to your party. I mean, you can Jansen, Gage, Jay. They'd be able to tell you if you ever talked to them out in Norwalk. But I used to just show up to a party. I would go ham and a rap, and then I'd get up on your table, and I'd be like, "Listen up!" I'd start rapping to the whole party. And after that, people started talking about it, and then the talent show.
Did you ever get into any battles in any of these parties with other people who thought they could rap? Did you ever have anybody kind of say, meowdy? Meowdy. So you did get into some battles?
I did, but it wasn't like this 8 Mile battle type thing. You know, I was a kid. It was cringy raps. I mean, I didn't lose. I lost one time to a guy named Jeff at the mall when I was like 16. But no, I haven't been much of a battle rapper.
Well, I bet Jeff from the mall doesn't want any smoke now.
He's cool. We ended up being friends. It was just for fun. But no, I used to do a little bit of that, but not a whole lot anymore. So I'm more of a written artist now than I am a freestyle artist.
Yeah, I can just see, though, sometimes, if a rapper sees another rapper get up on the table, maybe he thinks, well, I could rap too. Yeah,
that did happen. That did happen for sure.
Especially if you become known for it too.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. So when did you start recording? Because, there's a lot of people who rap, but not everybody takes that next step, right? And starts to, or even maybe even before the recording process, there's a lot of times there's people who rap who never write music, So when did you start going from just enjoying rapping to, like you said, becoming a written musical artist?
Early. I mean, I actually was recording before I even did the talent show stuff. I've been recording since I was 13, 14.
So what did that look like at that age? What did a setup look like? Was it?
It was terrible. I had a little Dell laptop that my mom got me. I think it was for my birthday or for Christmas. And I asked her because I wanted to be able to make my own beats, which I made terrible beats. But I rapped on that. I used, I think, an app known as Audacity. I think that's what I used. And I used a snowball mic, which is meant for podcasting.
Yeah.
I use this mic.
That's crazy.
That's the exact one I used, except I had a little mini gray plastic base for it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, I recorded on that. You can actually still listen to those. I decided not to pull them off YouTube. I thought it would show growth later on in my career, so I left it. They sound terrible, but
So did anybody teach you at all, or did you kind of just...
I just did it myself.
YouTube it at first and figure out how to do it, or?
Well, at first, all I looked up was how to what to download, and I downloaded it. I asked for no advice, which is why it didn't sound good. But now I self-teach using YouTube, or I'll call my boy Up Ethic. No, he's not Up Ethic anymore. Is it? What did he change his name?
Random correct.
He did. He just brand changed. My boy Gage. He's awesome. I call him every now and then and ask for tips on it, or if I'm in the studio, I'll go, hey, what does that do? If I'm in some other studio session with other people, I'll just ask people, and then I apply it myself. But a lot of YouTube for sure.
Do you enjoy the art of engineering, or is it more out of a necessity?
More out of a necessity. I like the studio session. I don't like editing. I am getting good at it though, so I'm getting much quicker than I used to be. So I don't mind. I'll do what I got to do. But the goal one day is to have my own big setup with my own hired sound engineer.
So what does your creative process kind of look like? Do you get an inspiration for a song and then start writing it and then find a beat? Or do you find a beat that inspires a song and then you start writing it? Or what does kind of your creative process look like?
It varies sometimes, but typically I hear a beat that I like, and then I buy it, and then I sit down in the studio and I turn the lights off, and I play the beat on repeat 1,000,000 times and just keep writing. And then as soon as I write a line, I go all the way back to the beginning of the song. I wrap it all the way up to where I'm writing, and I keep writing. But Recently I started also coming up with song ideas without anything, and I note it down on my phone. I note down the title and the concept, and then later when I listen to a beat, I can look at the concepts and apply it.
Got you. So, how many projects do you have?
I have a bunch of projects. I didn't drop music for a while because I believed that everything had to be at this crazy industry standard with this crazy budget, and then I realized not dropping songs is probably not doing me any good. So now I drop a song once a month. If I had to guess,
More than 10?
oh yeah, more than 10 for sure. But not a lot of finished, polished projects, but I've got a bunch of stuff I'm sitting on for sure.
But you have multiple albums?
Multiple albums? No, probably not multiple albums. I probably got a couple albums. Sure. Yeah. I've got, I don't know, 30, 40 songs probably I'm sitting on if I had to guess. And then I got a ton of concepts. I have no idea how many concepts I actually have.
So
I start writing something.
So do you are you putting together kind of an album at some point, or?
I'm going to wait. I'm going to do the single thing for now. I think dropping an album comes when you have like a massive core following. I just don't think I'm at the level where I should be dropping albums yet.
I saw an interview not that long ago with Russ. He said something I thought was super interesting. He said that the music was the rollout. He's like, every time I put out a song, if I put out another song, that song does better than the last song, as long as I'm consistent and I keep putting out songs. He said, so he's like, I'm not in a rush to put out an album. He said, the songs are the rollout. He said, so whenever the album comes, as long as I keep putting out songs and I don't put out an album for a whole year, they're going to be waiting for the album. He said the music was the rollout, to where, like you said, some people will stop. They won't put out any music trying to put that album together. And then they'll go however long, and, you know, you're only as good as your last song in this day and age, because with the internet, music comes so fast, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So are those three artists that kind of help shape your sound, is that also who you listen to today? Like, what were you listening to on the way over? If I was being honest, for me, it was probably a podcast. I'm getting older. So I would have to make up some music that I listen to these days, like 50, Cameron, stuff like that.
I still listen to a lot of those guys.
What were you listening to on the way over?
I think I was listening to a new beat that a producer sent me, actually.
Got you. So when you say that, so you have some producers who kind of send you some stuff hoping that you'll buy, because you said you go online sometimes and also find beats to purchase. But do you have some producers that you work with more than others?
I got a bunch of like producers that shoot me emails and go, hey, check this out. And this guy the other day, he's from Ukraine, and
wow.
he hit me up and he goes, I got some foreign heat for you from those international tours. I'm like, all right, let me hear it. And I ended up buying a couple beats off.
Nope.
Yeah, they're like these cool guitar rap beats. I want to do more of those.
I
like that.
Well, my favorite's probably like horns. I like triumphant stuff, but I love guitars too. Like, guitars are my favorite. And I wish there was more live music with hip hop here in Des Moines, you know, because I just love hip hop over live music. I really want to do some sort of, you know, I would like to do stuff like that here. But live music is missing from the local hip hop scene here. So, you know, we're going to get to touring and stuff because you're a pretty big deal. But was performing something that you enjoyed doing? Is that kind of something that one of your more favorite parts maybe of the process?
Performing is one of my favorite parts of the whole process. So that's where I can I get like pent up energy and just these feelings and all this stuff going on that I don't just always get out in the studio. I mean, the studio isn't all my release. My release is on stage. So, I mean, I get up there. I mean, that's 9 times out of 10. I look like I'm pretty pissed off when I'm on stage, and that's just because I'm getting a lot of stuff out. But
it's intense in the moment, right? Just really dialed in.
Yeah, plus I love when I'm on stage and I can look in the crowd and I do one of my serious songs like 3 in the Chamber or Tragedy to Triumph, and you can just see like the 10% of the crowd that it's like really hitting home with. I like seeing that. That's for sure.
Because you had spoke about talent shows and stuff earlier. So what did your kind of stage life look like and progress? Like, you obviously went from talent shows to doing performances. So kind of what was like the first time you had like a stage outside of school like that, you kind of really put yourself out there?
My first show that was not at school and was like a legit show would have been when I was 16 years old, maybe 17, in Illinois at the Rock Island Supper.
And so to give people kind of a point of reference, that was about 7 years ago or so?
Yeah, I'm 25.
Yep, got you.
So but I did one at the Rock Island Supper Club out there, and there was a bunch of artists on it. I mean, it was still a small underground show, but it was a
cool,
show.
though.
That was my first real show.
Yeah.
And that was pretty cool.
Around other rappers and artists and stuff?
Yeah. I mean, as far as I can remember, that's the one. It's the earliest memory I got of it anyways.
And then from there, were you always pretty consistent performing, or?
No, not always. It wasn't until I started like open mic hunting where I'd go places, and it was the shift of mentality that went from I make music to, oh, this is a business, where I started taking things seriously, and I'm like, oh, I need to network. Like, these people aren't just going to go, oh, hey, Cold Saint's dope, I found him online. That's not how this works. I have to go and find the people, find my audience. So I started getting on Facebook, looking up events, looking up open mics, looking all over Google. I'd show up, I'd shake every hand in the building, and I'd go, hey, what's up? I'm Cold Saint, follow me, this is what I do. And then I'd try to find who runs those open mics, and then I'd see what else they run. And then I'd see if I can get on those shows. After I got on those shows, I started networking with those audiences. Over time, I built my following. Now I can headline my own shows confidently.
So, and just so people know, so where is it that you're from?
Norwalk, Iowa.
So when you were looking for these open mics, are we talking Central Iowa, or were you kind of traveling all over? Or
mostly Des Moines.
Central Iowa, right? Kind of,
yeah. Central Iowa.
Just so, but you were finding them.
I was finding them. And when I didn't find them, actually, I did this even before all the shows, actually. But I used to go downtown in the back of my buddy's truck where he'd play his subs, and I'd jump in the bed of the truck, and I'd rap to people on the street.
No way.
There was a video on YouTube. That's true.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
It was true, but there was
That's awesome.
That we had so many people in the street one time that the cops came, and they were like, you need to go. You're blocking traffic.
That's incredible, man. That's pretty cool, man.
I still got some of the people that they still follow me to this day.
No, that's super cool, man.
Out there. That's
super cool, man, for sure. So, what were some highlight shows? Early on though, like some that stand out? As you were getting more and more comfortable to eventually be overseas and all over the world, was there some, Central Iowa shows that kind of stood out for you?
I mean, some
venues maybe.
I loved Lefties. Lefties is awesome. I'm so sick.
Have you opened for anybody or anything like that?
One of my favorite opening shows I did was with Tech 9. I opened for Tech. I've opened for Nelly.
Who always puts on an incredible show.
Tech 9 goes nuts.
Always puts on an incredible show.
He goes crazy.
So I can only imagine what opening for that is, especially here.
It was awesome. It was me, him, and X-Rated. I was the only local artist they allowed on the show. And it's because I was an absolute nuisance. I'm not even gonna lie, man. I called like 20 times. I was like, not Tech. You don't call Tech to get the show. Yeah, I called the promoter, and I was like, hey, have you talked to him yet? And he's like, I haven't heard back yet, man. I'll call you tomorrow. I called tomorrow. I'm like, you heard from him yet? And Tech himself cleared my music to let me on the show. At least that's what I heard. And it was pretty cool.
Hey, that's awesome, man.
And then I met X-Rated up there, and he was really chill, and he gave me props, and that felt pretty good. But yeah, I've opened for Tech. I've opened for Chris Calico a few times.
You said
Dizzy
Nelly?
Wright, Whitney Payton. Who?
You said Nelly too?
Yeah, Nelly.
Was that here?
Dirk. Yeah, that was here.
You opened for Dirk?
Yeah, Lil Durk. I also did Afro Man. I did Soul.
Those were here in Des Moines too?
Lil Durk was in Des Moines. Yep, Horizon Event Center.
Very cool.
And then
wow, man.
What else? I did Jacquees. I've opened for Trina.
So how you said, you're kind of waiting to put out a project and all that stuff, like a full-length album. Are you, like, for lack of a better word, touring kind of the same songs all this time? Or are you trying what works? Or was there anything that you consistently kept doing? Like, what did that look like? Like, how you put your sets together?
I do a lot of the same songs, but I also, anytime I got something new, I throw it on all the time. Or sometimes I even do unreleased stuff just because I want to see what the crowd thinks.
That's what I'm saying. Like, kind of, and maybe different crowds might call for, do you kind of cater to what you're opening for, stuff like that?
Yeah. I'll gauge the crowd sometimes. Sometimes if I get to a crowd and I see it's a bunch of older people.
Yeah,
I might change the set.
Or if it's a bunch of women, or if it's a bunch of
women. Exactly. Yeah. I think the way I formulate my sets is I like to start off just showing that I can rap. So I start off with something that's got some bars to it. halfway through the set, I like to get real. I do not like doing shows where I don't get to get serious with people. The whole reason I make music is because it's about tragedy to triumph. I like talking about taking my tragedy.
Yeah, pain rap is what I come from.
Good. That's what I like to do. So sometimes even at parties, man, I'll get serious and get real. I'll do my 3 in the Chamber suicide anthem and just change the vibe entirely. But I always end on a high note because I don't like to leave people feeling sad.
For sure. For sure. But music's about, you know, being vulnerable and kind of knowing you're not alone. That's really the big thing about it. And so that's why I've always kind of got into a little deeper, painful music, for lack of a better word, because it's painful music and it's a painful topic. But when you realize you're not alone, it's a little less painful. You know what I mean? So that type of music has always resonated with me. Like Joe Budden was my favorite rapper forever, and that's all he ever rapped about, was just how hard it was to come from nothing and addiction and all these terrible things, you know? So you kind of like mentioned divorce rap and all that stuff. I was going through a terrible, terrible childhood. So music was kind of all I had, you know, but I'm old. So I remember playing it on records and stuff.
I haven't played it on a record, but I do hear that, like the analog, everybody says that the old music had more soul. And I think that's because, I know this is so random, but I think that's because when they switched to MIDI, you know, when you like zoom in on a wavelength and MIDI looks like a staircase going up, and then analog looks like smooth lines. I feel like those little staircases that's the soul they're talking about.
Interesting. So do you have anything like, you said you don't really play any instruments, you know, you don't produce, you DJ at all, you know, have you host any parties, anything like that?
Oh yeah, I've thrown parties, and I'm not a DJ.
You seem like that. You seem like you would have that kind of energy.
Yeah, I used to throw a ton of parties, but now I throw like event parties. I don't throw house parties anymore.
Same. Yeah, events.
But yeah, I throw a lot of those. I'm not a DJ, but I DJ when I got a DJ. Like I've done it.
Do you have a DJ?
Oh yeah, I work with
that kind of does a lot of your shows.
I work with Skycrow a lot.
Yeah, shout out to him. He's a friend of the show.
Shout out Skycrow.
He's been here before. We got to get him on the show, actually. But yeah, shout out to Skycrow for sure. So the name, where'd the name come from?
It's not as cool of a story as you think it would be. I was like 12 years old when I made the name, 11 or 12. I was walking my dog. My real name is Noah St. John, so I was trying to make something with the last name St. John. So I was being super cringe walking down. I was like Dr. Saint, Young Saint, Little Saint, like all the most cliche names you could think of. And then I was like, it was the middle of winter, by the way, and I was like, holy cow, I'm like, dude, it's so cold. And I'm like, oh, Cold Saint. And then I did that.
All right, fair enough.
That rolls. And then my brother's girlfriend at the time printed Cold Saint on a beanie as a Christmas gift to me. And I wore it everywhere. And I just kept
kind of stuck from there.
So I still got it. Yeah, it's all beat up now.
Very cool. So you just mentioned your brother?
Yeah.
So you have siblings?
I got lots of siblings.
Oh, lots of siblings.
I got 7 siblings.
So I assume they're pretty supportive of what you're doing?
Yeah,
was there ever a time at first where they didn't see you going overseas, and was there ever a time that
nobody saw me going overseas?
Fair enough. You know,
nobody saw me going overseas.
But you know what I mean? Was there ever a time of like, you know, I don't know, and then
yeah. I mean, nobody's gonna look at you and go, yeah, you're definitely gonna do that. I mean, typically when you're a kid, they'll support you. I mean, and nobody was like mean to me about it. I mean, I guess my brother picked on me quite a bit. Me and him are cool now, though. Like we're really close now.
You also probably kept getting better and better at it.
I did.
You know, at some point it's like, hey, you know, I took your hazing, but guess what? I kept getting better at it.
I will say my brother, he used to really like seeing me freestyle when that used to be my thing. And he would always, I'd sit in a room and I'd freestyle to him and I'd say something really stupid. He'd be like, we got to show mom. And he'd take me upstairs. My mom was smoking a cigarette, watching Dr. Phil in her bedroom. And I'd walk in there and I'd be like, Mom, I have a rap, but it's inappropriate. And she was like, fine, what is it? And I'd rap, she'd be like, all right, that's good. Now get out. I actually didn't want to condone my inappropriate raps. When I was a kid, I used to say stupid stuff, but
for sure. Yeah, we all did. But that's what kind of leads you to getting comfortable, because I mean, rapping is kind of mastering the art of the word, obviously, as corny as it sounds. So you have to get comfortable with the art of the word. And there's just no way to do that without being willing to make mistakes and, like you've said multiple times in this interview, sound cringe or whatever word you want to put on it. You know what I mean? The only way to do it is to do it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
what I'm getting out of this is that you fearlessly did it.
Oh, yeah.
And that's super cool, because hip hop can have a stigma, in my opinion, of just being tough on people, I think. You know what I mean? And it's really cool to see that you had continued to push, and like we're going to get into, have been able to take it all over the world, literally, at this point, you know?
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. So you said earlier that you put out a song a month. Is that kind of like,
This is a recent thing. I just started doing
but
it.
is it something you hope to stick to too?
Yeah,
Is that something people who watch this can
You can
expect?
expect me to drop a single on the 1st of every month going forward. I'm going to keep dropping singles. And it's funny that you mentioned Russ earlier, because that's actually where I heard that from him, and Nick D, I believe, is where I started going, okay, maybe I should just start dropping a song a month. But
Because, yeah, just, you know, and then it gives people something to keep looking forward to and look forward to. And you never know what's going to be that next one that pushes you past 100,000 streams, 500,000 streams, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So that's awesome. So but I assume, like, is your recording process just kind of once a month? Like, that you're only doing one song a month? Or are you kind of recording all the time? Or what is that? What does that look like?
I record when I'm
'Cause
inspired.
you said it's at home. Still,
at
like,
home.
I'm assuming a little better than that setup you had when you were 12,
Way better
13?
than the setup
Than
I
that
had.
Dell computer or whatever it was?
It's still not like, wow, but it's nice. I mean,
yeah.
I use a Volt interface, and
Right.
I got an AKG P420 for my mic,
Very cool.
and I got
nice.
like acoustic foam wrapped around my little walk-in closet. I realized, and I will be fixing it before anybody says this to me, you're not supposed to wrap in a walk-in closet. I didn't know that. Apparently it's supposed to be an open room, but hey, we're evolving. But it's...
Well, because we were always told that, you know, that you were supposed to be in the space, you know.
Yeah.
But then when you see these high-end $500,000 studios, they're always in this large room, you know. It's
This
like,
guy telling me about that, and I was like, I'm like, isn't this too open space? And he's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, this is too open. You got too much room here. And he's like, dude, reverb bounces off the walls. Why would you put it in your
and
walk-in
yeah, they
closet?
still treat
I'm
the
like,
room. It's
oh.
just done a certain way.
Yeah, well, he told me that when you get the mic so close to the walls inside the walk-in closet, you're fighting that reverb.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that makes sense, actually. So I'll be fixing that next time I move.
Got you.
But for now, this works.
For sure. So, what's next? Are you working on the next song? You got the next show planned. Now, we purposely have avoided going overseas. You know, we're going to get into all that because that's incredible. You know, so we're almost going to circle back to that.
I am working on the next song. I haven't announced it yet, but everybody knows I'm doing once a month anyways. I got another song, it's another ballad coming out. It's called Fight No More. And it's like, this last song that I just did, Myself Again, that I just dropped, was like this introspective song about like looking back and looking at my old perspective and looking at how it is now and why that is. This next song is about looking forward and dealing with all the stuff that someone goes through and like getting out of fight mode, like trying to leave survival mode, and how you don't even realize you're in it anymore.
For sure.
So that's what the next song is about.
For sure.
That's the next project.
Do you do artwork with all of them too?
Yeah.
Is that something that you do yourself?
I make all my artwork, yeah.
Oh.
Well, I make most of my artwork, so.
So I'm assuming it also out of necessity. You just kind of started teaching yourself all these things, and
I'm gonna be honest, I gotta give like props to like younger me, because I forced myself to take a video class and a Photoshop class in high school. And if you're an artist and you're in high school, take the video class and take the Photoshop class. Because man, no, it is a necessity thing. It's not like, yeah, let me edit this video. I'm so excited. I hate editing video. I hate it. But at least I know how. So
For sure. Well, yeah, I'm not a video editor or anything by any means, but it's kind of the same. I just started to learn on my own so that I could do this and I could start getting people's stories out and start getting things done without having to wait, you know, for everybody else. But I don't know how to edit videos. I don't know how to do any one thing. I just learn it and figure it out, you know, and keep chugging along. So
I started on iMovie with the videos, but now I'm using something known as Movavi.
So are there any Iowa artists that you've worked with in the past?
Yeah, me and Entree.
And anyone that you're looking forward to working with maybe in the future? Let's start with some other artists that you've worked with.
Me and Entree Luce, shout out Entree. We did a song called Cornbread, which ended up doing really well.
Would you say Would you say that was your biggest song to date?
Yeah, it's definitely got the most streams.
And do you feel like it gets a good reception, like your better reception as well at the shows?
Yeah, people like Cornbread. It's a fun song. I mean, it's
Especially probably here, I'm guessing, too.
Yeah, they love it here. Believe it or not, they actually really like it in Texas, too.
Which I guess that makes sense. Well,
Texas.
I spent 7-8 years in Ohio, which feels like Iowa because there's corn and stuff everywhere. So, there's something to that. So that song, how did that song come about?
That song came about because we were at this meeting and this guy from Sony flew out and he was an AR rep. His name's Chase. What up, Chase? And he was like,
shout out to Sony.
He said, man, I'm sick of coming to Iowa and here in Atlanta and here in Chicago and here in New York. He's like, I want to hear Iowa. What is Iowa?
Whoa.
And so I sat down with my crew at the time years ago. And,
I'm clipping this.
Yeah, we were like, we go, what should we say? Corn? I'm like, we can't just rap about corn. And I was like, man, we like scooping the loop. I'm like, I like my bonfires, I like going paintballing. And then somebody said, he's like, and the cornbread fed honeys. And I was like, oh, cornbread fed. And so I went home, I wrote the hook, and I was like, is she cornbread fed though? Is she cornbread fed? And I was like, yeah, that slaps. And so then we made a whole song about what we do for fun in Iowa and about Iowa girls and Iowa guys.
And what made you get Entree on that one?
Me and Entre were doing everything together back then. We were always touring together. We were in the same little camp of people, and so we get along really well. So, and I just think he's very talented.
For sure.
He's got a very nice voice, and I thought he would sound awesome on Cornbread, just because of, I don't know, it just made sense in my head.
For sure.
Entre, me and Entre, we were literally just talking the other day. We were wanting to do another track together, actually. So there might be something there.
Got you. And who's somebody that maybe you hope to work with? Kind of an Iowa artist that you hope to work with at some point.
In Iowa, man, I don't want to sound like a jerk. I don't know, there's not a lot's coming to mind. I mean, I know a lot of dope artists. I'm just
kind of doing your own thing.
I just kind of do my own stuff. I don't do a lot of collabs. I like to be in control of my creative process and stuff. So sometimes I have a hard time letting people in on that.
For sure. And are the beat producers Iowa-based either?
Technically. All right, my boy, Messiah IV. But I grew up with him. He's like my best friend since we were like 12 years old. But he ended up moving to Colorado. But he is an Iowa boy at heart.
And he does a lot of producing for you?
He does a lot of producing for me. He's very proud of Tragedy to Triumph. That's one of the ones he did that he really enjoys. Gotcha. He also did the So Cold track. He also did the Myself Again track. He did a couple of the other ones too. He did the Head of the Lake track.
And while we're talking about the music, people just type in your name, they kind of can find it anywhere?
Yeah, you just type in Cold Saint, one word, COLDSAINT. You'll find me everywhere. I mean, I got a website, coldsaint.com. You can find links to everything there.
Got you.
You buy merch if you want it.
Perfect. So we're going to take a break and then jump right back into the tour.